Like your notes for today.
They're all over the place.
No, I'm excited. I want to talk about your class.
I had an idea and then I had another idea. So then I tried to combine the ideas, but then I was
fine.
like, we'll never have time for both ideas.
That's okay.
So it's all there and we're just going to see where we get. But you want to welcome me?
I will welcome you.
Are you ready? Are you not ready?
Oh, no, I'm totally ready.
I think I'm ready.
Well, you have no choice, Helen. We're here now.
I'm like not actually, but I'm ready to just get ready while doing the thing. Yeah, so
yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah, I'll just, we'll just do the opening right now. So welcome, everyone, to Season 2, Episode 25 of Millennial Mom Thoughts.
What's up, what's up, what's up?
What's up is it's friggin' cold.
It is friggin' cold.
Again.
Yeah, I got out and ran 13 miles yesterday, which was rough. Some would say brutal, but it wasn't the worst. But then looking ahead to this week, it's like, how am I going to... Yesterday, I went into Morton and did like the perimeter and then went back and forth along the state streets. Okay. So like I'm only going...
Did you go by my house and you didn't tell me?
I didn't go. No, I didn't.
Oh,
I went almost to my parents' house and didn't tell them.
Oh,
but
wow.
It's always nice to have them there for a bathroom break if needed. Yes. No, but what did happen, I always carry hydration when I'm doing a long run, and it's also like a fuel thing. Like it has carbs and electrolytes and all the stuff in it.
Is it fettuccine Alfredo?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Time to
in a little
load. Office reference
aluminum
for
tin.
Who doesn't get that, by the way.
But this thing, so I have it like in a handheld water bottle, it's got a strap. And already at the start of my run, I had to kind of like alternate hands back and forth because the one that's holding it is like really exposed so that my knuckles get cold. So then I switch it so the other one can like
you don't have
warm
special
itself
gloves?
back up. I have gloves.
Oh,
I should have worn like mittens over them. I needed another layer. But the long and short of this is that slowly over the course of this run, the bottle froze. So for the last at least I'd say last hour, like it turned from... This happened last week where like the mouthpiece, like where you the sippy,
I
don't know what I'm saying.
Your sippy cup.
That
sippy cup.
froze, and so I'd have to like into the water bottle before I could drink from it. But then the stuff in the water bottle became kind of a slushy, so I had to take the cap off and like toss it back. And then for the last, I'd say at least 5 miles, it was just I am carrying a block of ice right now.
That is kind of wild. And
all that to say,
a sign that you shouldn't run when it's that cold.
Well, but also a sign that if I can do that, I think I can do a marathon. Like, it's all mental training more than anything. So it's like it'll be April, and I can say at least it'll be mile 23, and it's like at least it's not 5 degrees in January.
Yeah.
So maybe this was just my segment of me wanting to brag on the hard thing I did yesterday.
Congratulations.
Which gives me an excuse to not do anything all this week if the weather is not cooperating.
Don't do it tomorrow.
I
danger zone. Even going outside for a few minutes. So.
I know. And we were going to go to Sign and Sing, but it may not even be worth stepping out of the house. But it's so rare that we actually get to go on a Monday.
Oh, yeah. I tend to miss it too.
Yeah. Anyway. At least it's a 3-day weekend, though. I am vibing on that. Although by the time this comes out, our listeners will be sadly in the midst of
midweek
on a Wednesday, Tuesday, whatever day of,
Lily has another ear infection.
No, oh no!
I took her to prompt care today.
Oh goodness!
She was showing all of the signs.
Yeah.
And sure enough, right here. So
that puts you over the threshold.
I don't even know what the threshold is anymore.
Yeah.
I need next time I'll send a message. It's like, do we need a referral?
Yeah. I remember you saying that the last time she had one that
she had like just missed the time cutoff or something. But she's miserable. It's awful.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so
sorry.
The
listeners, if not that I feel I want to know more about what, like, you have to do the tubes thing.
Yeah.
I want to know more about that. I feel incredibly anxious about anything that would be putting her under.
Yeah.
But she's just so miserable and in pain, and it's like she just screams and she doesn't sleep, and it's awful. And then she has periods where it's like, I'm normal again, everything's fine, and you look at her like you would never know.
Yeah.
But
well, I had my tubes. What do they do? They're taken out? Is that what it is? Or they put tubes in? What do they do with these tubes? Yeah, yeah. Well, whatever tubes are. I had it done when I was
spoiler alert.
Lily's age, so I don't remember much about the experience. I remember it in pictures. Like I remember seeing pictures of myself in the hospital.
Okay.
But you could certainly ask my mom
what it
was like.
What was it like in the 90s?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's back in my day. We didn't have
late 90s. Not even. Anyways.
Mid. We'll say mid 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying to make some joke about back before there was YouTube. We just had ear tubes, but that's not very funny. So I'm not gonna
I laughed.
Make that joke.
I laughed.
But no, that sucks. I'm sorry. We've got gloopy-eyed girl over here and maybe some little rash action. So I'm sure she's fighting something right now. And every once in a while she'll touch her ear and I'm like, no, you don't touch your ear. It doesn't hurt. It's like in denial. Like obviously she's not doing anything wrong.
You're not actually saying to your child, stop it. Don't touch your ear.
Yeah. Quit tugging.
Helen's fine, everyone. She's not telling her child to stop. Not touch her ear.
Yes.
No, I can just tell. I look at Brian, I'm like, don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud. No. And then we just know.
Yeah. So. Oh, that's hard.
Anyways, more amoxicillin. So the news aired.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yes. And remind me what day that was. That was Monday, Tuesday of this week.
I think it was Monday. I didn't see it on the news because I wasn't watching because I didn't know when it was coming.
Bummer.
Which was fine.
Yeah.
Someone texted it to me.
Oh, so well, that's good.
I was like, oh, I guess it must have aired because they texted me the link to the website. Certainly was a lot shorter than on the one hand, I'm glad that they cut like basically everything because then I can't go back and be like, oh, I'm kicking myself for saying this, that way. It was a super short segment and they did, talk much more about Washington Library, which I understand. It's a whole program going on.
Yeah. No, I noticed that too, though. It's like, oh, that was 75% library, 10% explaining your thing, and then like 2% here's Jordan's memoir.
Well, but you did get to see lovely B-roll of me reading a book. So
I was like, is this a photo? Oh, nope, her pupils are moving.
No, it was the most straight. I've read many books, contrary to popular belief, in my life. And I did have this moment where like, oh wait, how are my eyes looking like they're reading? And then I realized I was going like straight up and down on the page and not side to side because I was just, it's like nobody's noticing, but I'm thinking in my mind, I need to look like I'm actually reading rather than just, Jordan, just actually read the book. Mm-hmm. You've already read it. You know what happens. Anyways, but
what a neat experience, though.
Glad that I was prepared enough that I brought multiple books, and they were able to feature the different books again for a snippet, but it was there.
That's something. And for the brevity or for what it was, you have been contacted by like multiple people now, right? Being like, "Hey, saw you on the news," and that's what it's all about, right? That was
despite me kind of losing my mind at the thought of, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be on the news and my name and my face are gonna be on the news. It was good because then it caused some people to hear about it. That actually Brian said when he was doing his route, he ran into some teacher or band director, I forget who it was. It was like, hey, is your wife a librarian? I saw her on the news.
Yep, sure. Why not?
I guess maybe part-time for my children. I'm my children's librarian. I'm at the library so much. So yeah, that was neat. And it did reach some people that I hadn't gotten in contact with before. And then the book club has still gone well. Last week it was just me and one other mom that was on the meeting, and we talked some about the book, but then it ended up just being related topics, and it was just it was a really great conversation. I was so glad that it happened. So we have another one tomorrow night, and hopefully both can show up. But it's been a good reason to read Jean Twangy's book, 10 Rules. And I'd like to do another one either with that book or and I'm not done with this one yet. Listeners, I'm showing Helen my book.
Yes, you've told me about this. The Digital Delusion
The
by,
Digital
what's his name
Delusion,
one more time?
Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath.
Yes. And you've said that this is going to do for ed tech what Jonathan Haidt did for
smartphones and social media.
Yeah. So
oh
tell
my
me
gosh.
more.
So I am currently in a book club through, it's actually through Oregon, this Oregon Unplugged, but through Distraction Free Schools Project. I'm in all these different, it's so interesting to meet all these people across the country that are doing all these things, and I've just been able to connect with literally parents and advocates across this entire country.
I love that.
It's just the coolest thing.
Yeah.
So there's a woman named Kathy. She's a retired pediatrician, and she does Oregon Unplugged. That's kind of the name of their group. And Dr. Horvath also currently, she said he's like her neighbor. I don't know if it's like actually down the street neighbor or what, but we're doing his book for this month's book club. And so he was on the first call, for the first book club meeting, which was wonderful. And I've been in so many Zoom meetings now with him, and not necessarily had the chance to talk to him myself, but could submit questions. So it was a neat opportunity just to quickly have this little brief, discussion. There were several people. Last book club, I think it was 5 of us. It was fairly small. And this one, and I think because of the book and the fact that he was going to be on the call, there was like 14 people.
Yeah.
So it was, when it gets that big, it's much harder to have, kind of a personalized discussion. It was still good, but he was talking a lot about the Senate committee hearing that he just testified at, which I watched that entire, I don't know that I've ever watched an entire, government procedural, whatever.
You weren't a C-SPAN girl growing up?
I was not. That would have put me immediately to sleep. But this was over 2 hours long. It was like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And it was him, Dr. Horvath, Emily Churkin, who I'm in a group with her. She's also called the Screen Time Consultant.
I was coming to. I was like, the Screen Time lady, the Dr. Screen.
Her Substack's really good. I know obviously you are on Substack, so you might run across something of hers. I don't know, but she's worth a follow. And then Jean Twangy, whose book I'm reading for the other book club, and then a pediatrician whose name is escaping me, from the American Academy of Pediatrics, and maybe it was, gosh, I cannot remember. I don't remember her name. She had some good responses, but there was kind of like, kids need to be involved in the decision on what technology they use and how they use it. And on one hand, I could understand some of what she was saying, but this isn't like some foregone conclusion that every kid has to use social media in order to have a childhood these days. So there was some stuff that she said I kind of thought was problematic, but the questions were really interesting, and then it was really, really neat to hear from, and he says his name's Jared, so I feel comfortable saying Jared. I don't know him personally, so I don't feel like I can just say, hey, Jared, Dr. Jared. But Jared Cooney Horvath was saying how it's wild because people just are constantly coming in and out. So nobody's really sitting there for the entire meeting. They're off in other meetings, and then they pop in. Their staffers will tell them, like, I don't know if it's you're up next or what. So then they come in. It's for a couple minutes. So there's a lot of repeat information because they didn't hear what the other senators were asking. But oh my gosh, and I noticed it too when I was watching, and some people were kind of live streaming it through WhatsApp. We were live chatting. And Ted Cruz was on his phone, and Jared confirmed this, the entire freaking time, scrolling. And like, I could understand there were staffers in the back, maybe, and people maybe taking notes and whatever, or sending messages like, hey, you need to come in here now, or whatever. but he was quite literally just scroll, and you could see it. He's, it's like, you're on, sir. We can all see you. And he's, in charge of this committee and talking about the harms of screen time. And he made one, and it did make me laugh. He said something like, getting peace in the Middle East is easier than raising teenagers these days. And like there was a like awkward laugh in the room of, I don't know, that something an old person would say, or some what a politician would say.
Yeah.
But I just laughed at kind of the ridiculousness of that
Irony.
whole thing.
Yes. Interesting though.
But it was super interesting.
Civic
engagement. And all of them, what I did really appreciate was, regardless of, Republican or Democrat, there were so many that I mean, I didn't even know. I certainly don't know all of them and their, affiliation, but it was like, oh yeah, I agree with that. I agree what you're saying. And so it does feel like this is one of the only or very few things that's like it can be agreed upon bipartisanly. I don't know if that's a word, bipartisan.
Yeah, I'll take it.
It is
but
now.
It is.
It is for this podcast, bipartisanly. And so I just appreciate, because I would hope, certainly not the big tech people, but ultimately people want to hopefully do what's best for children. And
it shouldn't be a politicized issue.
It shouldn't. It really shouldn't.
And that's part of when corporations come in and make it.
Right.
Because who has the money and where's that money going and who's supporting what and whatnot. It certainly, like anything, can become politicized and
totally
partisan.
But the discussion itself was really good, and there were so many drop the mic moments from both Dr. Horvath and from Emily Churkin, and a few from Dr. Twangy, but certainly just was an overall good discussion. And I think it was Cruz who said, like, I don't know if, I mean, I don't know that this is actually something that they can or would do or would get voted on, but like, if schools are using social media or letting kids use social media at school, he said, well, then we're going to pull federal funding. It's like,
what would that actually look like?
How do you, anyways. So there, at least
also,
there's
that
just
seems like
a lot
really
of
weird way to
it's
punish kids for being
right
kids.
Let's focus on the social media companies that are feeding kids these dangerous, harmful algorithms. That are hooking them, and it's not their fault, and their parents are being told that these are safe, and we put the filters on, and we prevent these harms from happening, and they actually haven't. So anyways, so watch that was fascinating. And then in the past 24 hours,
I saw another here's what I've realized about us, Jordan, because I'll share my updates here in a moment. The difference between the two of us, which I think are two very different, wonderful, beautiful things, is that you find a thing to do and you do the thing like immediately, and you do all these things immediately. You don't wait, you just dive in, you do it. I find a thing I want to do, I think about that thing, I develop that. I take so long on one thing, and you go so like, and I don't mean this in a negative way, like
no,
dive right in, you go quickly through a lot of simultaneous things. And I just think
probably
that's
why
so
I'm
wonderful.
losing my mind.
Yeah, no, I don't know how you tackle it all, whereas I'm sitting here still planning for what I'm going to do in March.
Well, but I think, I don't know, with it, and it's been mostly related to these things, but I'm kind of just now operating with, I'm just going to do it, and if people get on board, that's great. If they don't, I'm not doing anything that's hurting anybody. I'm not sharing any information that's causing harm, or certainly not intending to. But I had a really good discussion about just like policy in our district, and mentioned something to someone, and they were like, well, that concern has never been brought up to us.
And this was a board member, is that right? Or no? And you don't have to say, just someone who has a position in our district.
Well, and I have talked to board members, and board members came to my film screening, and I had a really good call with a superintendent that I know, it was just really helpful, and also just kind of fun to talk about like school stuff, because I don't get the chance to really do like talk shop basically
With people
for a
who
little
already
while.
are in it, already get it. Not
Yeah,
yes.
and somebody who knows me or worked with me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so after some conversations, and when one with a board member who had said like, well, this this hasn't ever been
Mm-hmm.
raised, this concern hasn't been raised to us before. And meanwhile, I know that it is a concern because it's not just
Mm-hmm.
me, and I'm talking with multiple parents, and I have to remind myself, just because you're thinking about this doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
everyone is. So I
Mm-hmm.
get that. But every time I do talk about this with someone other than me, they're like, "Oh yeah, that I
Mm-hmm.
worry about that too," or "This is what
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to do." So they suggested or said like, you're gonna need to come and present to the board.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I knew that was coming. I knew that was something I needed to do, and it feels a little. I mean, it feels intimidating,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, because it is a public forum. It's a public
Mm-hmm.
record, and it's being live streamed and then recorded, so people
Mm-hmm.
can watch it later. Because that's how I watch school board meetings, is online. But the other piece to add to that was, it can't just be that it's something you're concerned about. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you need to have
You need
data
the
to back it
data.
up.
Yeah.
And I know that from being, a school counselor. It's like,
Of
if you want to make
course.
a change on something, you better
Yes.
have the data
You
to
need the
show that
proof.
the change is
Mm-hmm.
needed. And so I created a survey, and actually borrowed most of it from another woman I connected with in New York, who had made a similar survey in her community. Um, and it combined things about like personal devices in school, and then also school tech, and really just to kind of get a pulse on things.
Mm-hmm.
And truly, this, and I tried to articulate this in one of the Facebook posts I made in the Wait Until Eighth group. This is not like an us versus the school, parents
Mm-hmm.
versus the school. I'm not doing this to be like, you're doing it wrong. it's
Mm-hmm.
it's more, if this truly hasn't been brought up to you
Mm-hmm.
before, then if I can be someone that helps bring about a discussion or a
Mm-hmm.
conversation, like, I will do that. Um, and I know that even I haven't reached out on every single one of these things I'm concerned about. So
Mm-hmm.
I need to do it too. So, anyways,
Yeah.
it brought more people to the Wait Until Eighth group. It's
Wow.
over 100 now. I
Right
think
on.
it was 100 this morning, and now
Mm-hmm.
it's like 107 or 108, something
Right.
like that.
Where did you share this? Like it
In
within the
in
Wait
the Wait
Until
Until
Eighth
Eighth
group.
group,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've sent it to, I've texted it or emailed it specifically to people either that
Mm-hmm.
came to the Can't Look Away film, or just friends, classmate
Mm-hmm.
friends,
Mm-hmm.
that I have met, and just said and it's truly anonymous. I really
Mm-hmm.
don't know who, unless you put your name on it,
Mm-hmm.
which I made that an option if you wanted to, but I have no idea who
Mm-hmm.
submitted what. I did have one person that texted me. They're like, submitted, and then when I opened it up, I was like, oh well, that was you, because they
Yeah.
had just done it.
Yeah.
Um, but I truly am
Yeah.
keeping it anonymous. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not interested in, unless you want to tell me who you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
I would rather understand more about what's working, and what do
Yes.
you hope for,
Yeah. Being able to see the
change.
bigger picture without getting
Yeah.
into the individual. No, that's
So people have left such meaningful
mm,
comments,
mm-hmm.
and then I'll stop. The one that stuck out to me, which is something I did email our superintendent about, because a mom a while back had said, we want, a junior high mom told me that they wanted to go smartphone free for longer, but then their kid was at junior high and joined the track team, and they
Mm-hmm.
use an app to
Mm-hmm.
communicate, schedules and roster, like all the
Mm-hmm.
things. And so there was pressure,
Mm-hmm.
whether, direct or not, to have a smartphone so that their kid could keep up with the information, and not
Mm-hmm.
the parent then tells the kid, and
Yeah.
there's kind of this
Yeah.
delay.
Defeats the
and
purpose.
and there shouldn't be a requirement
Mm-hmm.
explicitly required, or in
Or
like
impl
pressured.
right. Yeah, I'm sure no one will
um
ever say you must have,
right, but
but
you
just
just
the
shouldn't
yeah.
use you shouldn't be required to have a smartphone to fully participate in school,
Mm-hmm.
or
If we're gonna have
use
school
social media.
devices,
Right.
If
Well,
we're
and
gonna have one to
you
one
have a
technology,
school email.
why are we not using? Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
always my thing. It's like, why aren't we
And
already using the things that we're already
but also like
providing?
I didn't have a
Yeah,
school email when I
right,
was, a
right.
student, and I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I was involved in stuff that,
Mm-hmm.
okay, there was a last minute change. They would do it over the PA system at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day. It's like the after school or end of the day announcements, and you better be
Mm-hmm.
listening up
I
because,
was gonna say that's the problem is that you
you
think
know,
they're
or something that was on paper and
yeah,
the pass
yeah,
runners delivered it so that
right.
before the end of the day you got
Mm-hmm.
the piece of paper with the change of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we can do these
Yeah,
things without
yeah.
apps. I recognize that apps make a lot of things easier,
Mm-hmm.
but now that there kind of is this recognition of, well, people have a choice whether or not they want their kids to use a smartphone or not, and more, as the Wait Until Eighth Pledge has kind of shown our community, more and
Mm-hmm.
more are doing that. And so I just sent him, Dr. Sander, just if you would just consider making this a piece of our schools or district's policy to not require
Mm-hmm.
full participation in school to to have to use like a smartphone or social media account.
Mm-hmm.
And so something I shared in the group was back when I was at the high school and the previous two high schools before that I was at. I always ran the school counseling Facebook
Mm-hmm.
page and shared anything I thought was relevant, school news, and also like scholarships or colleges post stuff all the time, and it's like share this, share that, share that. And I just didn't think anything. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
think anything of it. But I was contributing to use social
Mm-hmm.
media so that you can be fully participating in this information.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't know then what I know now, and I would do it differently now
Mm-hmm.
given the chance. So
Mm-hmm.
a change can be made, and it's not, no one's doing it to be
Mm-hmm.
malicious or
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
cause harm. But
Because it has
once
been
you
such
know better,
a culture shift towards
right,
and it's not
right,
like anyone started by saying like this is the way we're going to do this now. We are strictly going to communicate important information through social
right,
media. But, as the culture shifted towards that way, like now that is the default and that
it
is
is.
perhaps the most efficient or effective way, but it does not have to be the only way. And the only way
Right.
we can make that change is if we recognize
Yeah.
that and start to make a new shift. Like, let's pivot to something else. Let's make a collective decision. Um,
Yeah. And just
which,
because the majority does something doesn't
mm-hmm,
mean that literally everyone has to.
mm-hmm,
And I've been making this analogy, and it's certainly not an original thought, but you know, no no one asked permission to bring in cell phones.
mm-hmm,
They just were there. And not that long ago, there were smoking lounges
mm-hmm,
in high schools and
mm-hmm,
schools. There
mm-hmm,
were or smoking sections to restaurants, which
mm-hmm.
now you look back and you're like, that is insane.
Yes.
That doesn't work. Once you're smoking and it's in the air, it's in
Right,
the air and it goes
right.
everywhere.
Yes.
Well, that analogy applies pretty
Mm-hmm,
well, I feel like, to smartphones,
mm-hmm,
personal devices in school. I am a person that, for my family, has decided we're not a smartphone, but before a certain age
mm-hmm,
family, and I send my child to school to be educated at school and to be kept safe. It's a unique, or supposed to be unique, environment.
mm-hmm,
Um, well, when the kid directly next to my kid has a smartphone and under their desk is pulling up, I mean, sorry, it's happening, porn or
mm-hmm,
violent video or just a distracting video game, whatever
mm-hmm,
it is. Well, that secondhand smartphone effect
mm-hmm,
is affecting my family's choice not to
mm-hmm,
use a
mm-hmm,
smartphone and then distracting from the reason they're there, which is education and socializing and all of those things.
mm-hmm,
So for families that have made that choice to delay, why is their choice not equally as
mm-hmm,
important or considered as a family who's decided not to delay their
mm-hmm.
smartphone? I'm not asking the school to make a parenting decision. They can have their smartphone at home when it's their time and not during the school day as a distraction. Um, so I just felt like that was a somewhat
Yeah,
good
it's a very powerful
analogy to make.
analogy.
You know,
No, it
like
is. Yeah.
second we would never be like, okay, in our classroom there's a smoking section and there's a non-smoking section. We
Mm-hmm.
know that cigarettes are harmful
Mm-hmm.
for anyone. You still have the right to go buy them and,
Mm-hmm.
do as you will. Same thing with smartphones, but we now know through research and data they
Mm-hmm.
are harmful and can cause harm. Does it cause the same harm to everyone? It does not. Well, cigarettes cause harm in different ways to different people. You
Mm-hmm.
could smoke your whole life and I guess be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways,
Yeah,
so
no, I think that's a fascinating analogy, and like it is an analogy as a starting place, and then like now let's get into what specifically are the harms of this technology
right,
or of
right.
smartphones, like it's so nuanced and also in the space of education, which is such a nuanced and complex
It is.
place.
Well, and like,
Which
hospitals have cleanliness rules, and you can't just
yeah.
go everywhere you want in a hospital. And schools are a unique environment too. You can't
Mm-hmm.
do or say or wear anything
Mm-hmm.
that you want to. There are rules in place to protect that educational environment. So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
should be now part of it because
Mm-hmm.
it's super disruptive.
Absolutely. And that's like, so I'm also thinking about this in the realm of the class that I started
Yeah, well,
teaching
this
this
is, I
week.
feel like, a
on-
very good
As
segue.
yes, yes, yes. This is where I was leaning. Because, week one, it's been great so far. It seems like a really good group. It feels like a
Oh,
big
good.
group. Like I've taught
Yeah, how many
classes up
students do you have?
28.
Okay.
And I've taught, I think, like over 30 students in any given class, but this room is like really like short and like narrow and long.
Okay.
So if I'm standing at my podium in one corner, I feel like the other side of the room is like a mile away.
Oh,
So anyway, but that's just like that. Like I think it feels bigger than it actually is
okay.
in this moment. And also just, it's like I'm learning names and all the things. And
Yeah.
by the time I see them next, it will have been a full week since we meet Monday,
Have
Wednesday, and
you
we'll have the
learned
holiday.
everybody's names?
No, well, I did better on Wednesday than I thought I would. But I
Okay.
did have them make name tags,
Oh,
which
that's right.
I don't
You did the
always
name
do. But
tags.
yeah, we did the name tags. And then of course my last thought falling asleep Monday night was, oh my God, I left my name tag. Like I told all of them, make sure you take your name tag, put it somewhere safe. I'm going to expect you to have these on Wednesday. And sure enough, I left Dr. Plevka-Jones sitting on the podium
Oh
with
no.
a drawing of a cat, a dog, and a running shoe. And my very personal response to what I think the purpose of education is, like written on the inside, because
Oh,
if I ask them to do something,
yeah.
I like to write alongside, and now
Is it gonna be gone?
it is gone.
Oh, it
It's
is
not there
gone.
Wednesday.
Yikes.
Wednesday, where I also experienced my first snow squall. I don't think
Oh.
Tazewell County had this warning, but over in McLean County, it was like a full like meh, meh, phone alert
Oh.
for a snow squall, which is just like a sudden big like up to 50-mile
Blinding
gust of winds
snowstorm.
and like whiteout conditions on the interstate.
Were
And
you
when
driving?
I was not driving. Luckily, I
Oh,
was
okay.
in the
Good.
library in front of like these big windows facing out onto the bridge that goes onto the quad, but like I could see like or I couldn't see like
Well,
this whiteout snow for just
wild.
like 2 minutes, and then it was still very
Weird.
windy and
Yeah, it was very windy.
yeah, it was very interesting. But I guess that's like a new classification. So this was the first
Hmm.
time that the National Weather Service in Lincoln had issued a snow
Right.
squall
Yeah, I don't
in
know
the
that I
area.
heard of that.
But anyway, I got to walk into class and be like, so did we all just learn a new vocabulary word?
Snow squall.
But and they giggled at stuff like that. So it seems like a good group. Um,
Yeah. Now,
so far. So
do you have any smartphone rules or device
I
rules for
kept
your
my same
classroom?
policy as before, where I just tell them, part of participation in this class, like, or participation involves mindful use of technology. There will be
Okay.
times where I ask you to, pull something up on a device if you have one. I will never require you to have a
Okay.
device in this class. So if you don't want to carry a laptop around, like, you don't need it, I'll provide, everything's
Yeah.
on the board. You can write in a notebook, all these things. Um, and there may be times where you need to quickly look something up on a phone or something. Like I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
you know, I can't pretend like I can impose a complete ban. But that they need to be aware that I will tell you to put away your phone or, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
which, I think more and more as I grow more cognizant of these things, like I will more intentionally, I hate to say enforce that, but like intentionally actually be calling them out and
Yeah, I
having
think
those
you have
conversations
to.
because yeah, and it's, what I've noticed, like they understand that this is harming them. They can absolutely reflect on the fact that they don't have the attention span to hold for a 75-minute class, that they
Yeah.
are addicted to these things.
You should tell
Um,
them about off February. See if
that's
anybody will do
true.
it.
You know what? I honestly should. I should. That would be a
You
cool
really
way to,
should, because it's
yeah.
not. You don't have to sign up for
Right.
anything. You
It's
can
just a
just do
thing to
it.
do. And it's
Yeah.
that point still in the semester in the year where we're all about like
Yeah.
goals and
Totally.
doing things. So, yeah, that's not a bad idea. And because, and in this very roundabout way, the role of technology in education is certainly, that, and I told them that too, like this will be a very metacognitive class. Like there
Yeah.
will be many times where we're doing something in class and then we're going to pause and step back and be like, so why are we doing this? Or
Oh.
how are we were doing some questioning, like I was modeling for them this questioning of a text that we read and then kind of step back. It's like, so why do teachers ask questions? Like,
Yeah.
why am I not just giving you answers? What do you think? That kind of thing.
Oh.
So I
Yeah.
think
Really
technology will certain,
analyzing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
which is this is why I love teaching teacher ed classes, even though not all of these students are studying to
Sure.
become teachers. Several have.
Why? Why would a student take this class that isn't going into education? Is this just, does this fulfill
Yeah,
some?
it's a one of the gen ed
Okay.
categories.
Okay.
I should probably know the title of it, but it's all,
That's okay.
just meeting goals of like something
To
to do
fill a
with
certain bucket.
informed citizenship,
Okay.
democratic, civic,
Okay.
something, something.
Yeah.
Don't send this to my
Not,
supervisor.
no, will not.
No, but anyway, and for that reason, I think that the kind of person that is going to sign up for this as a choice of class when there are other,
Yeah.
I don't know what other courses fulfill this requirement too, but
Okay.
it just seems like everyone so far is genuinely interested and
That's
engaged.
awesome.
And how could you not be though? Because
Right.
that's what it's like, something we all
We
have
all go
experienced
through.
and are part of. And whether or not you want a career in this or not, you will, even if you don't have kids, you will be living in a community that
Yeah.
your
Your
tax
tax
dollars will be
dollars.
supported. Yes. Yeah. And so that's, a lot of this class is just breaking down those kinds of things that they may not have ever even been aware of like
Hmm.
how are schools funded, how are they governed, how are they
You should
organized.
make an assignment that they have to watch a school board meeting or go
There
to a
was a
school board
version
meeting.
of that the one a previous instructor had done as an option. I'm doing a current events project kind of in lieu of
Yeah.
that, especially in the winter time. I feel like just I guess they could watch things that are streamed.
Yeah.
She had them actually go to some sort of
No, yeah,
public
that's
event.
good. They should actually go.
They absolutely should, but I just thought travel in this time of year can be dicey, and a lot of them are.
Can you have extra credit?
The only extra
Are you
credit I'm
permitted to
offering,
do extra
Jordan,
credit?
as you have read in the syllabus, is
I have
on your
not.
admit slips,
Oh.
which is, you've heard of an exit ticket, right?
Yeah.
Or like end of class, I need you to do this thing, write this down before you go. An admit slip is, quote unquote, what you need to enter class. And so for every assigned reading, I give them a handful of tasks that they need to do.
Huh.
So, like, these first couple are 3 terms, 2 takeaways, and 1 connection. So, like, pull out 3 key terms, whether it's something new or something essential to that reading, 2 takeaways from the text, like what were the main ideas or what do you want to keep learning or talking about, and then 1 connection. I usually give them like a question
Hmm.
specifically to make a connection either to their own experiences as students or something we will have previously talked about, things like this.
Yeah.
And I decided, for really my own sake and I think helpful for them, is that I want to collect these by hand. Like I want to collect them hard copies rather than online. And I told them that this can be handwritten,
Yeah.
or you can type and print it out. Either works.
That's
And
awesome.
all but one on the first assignment hand wrote it, which I found very interesting. Also, because they're all, printers suck and they have
Yeah.
limited printing funds. I highly doubt
Yeah.
any college students have
Has
their
their
own
own
printers in
printer.
their dorms anymore. I
Not
did, but
these
like,
days.
yeah,
I did in
yeah,
college.
right, same. And I
Yeah.
printed everything all the
I know. I
time.
printed everything.
I have, yeah, stacks on stacks. But anyway, yeah, and that like it is, we use an open source free textbook, so it's all online. And I even tested it. Like you can very easily go into a chat GPT or whatever the thing
Mm.
is and say like input my prompts, paste
Mm-hmm.
the text,
Mm-hmm.
and it would output something that's basically what I'm looking for. But if you're handwriting it, you still have to copy all that down. Obviously, that's still not cognitive. That's,
Sure, sure.
that is one level of cognition, but you're not really doing the thinking about it. So it's still not great. But also the incentive is that they can use these on their midterm and final. So
Okay.
the work you put in now, you will thank yourself for later and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So all that to say, these are like small ways I'm trying to preempt and mitigate what I'm sure will, like I'm under no delusion that I have a perfect system and I'm not going to run into AI questions this semester.
Man. Yeah.
But I think the more that I become informed and aware of how these things work, how they're being used, but also more critical of what AI specifically is doing
Yeah.
to students and to educators
Yeah.
and to parents and to it's
Yeah.
it's like
Everybody.
I
We're gonna have to do
I'm
another. I have a, and I
yes.
won't completely throw off your topic. I will
Mm-hmm.
just say this on one of the threads I'm on, the Screens in Schools group, the topic of college students and
Mm-hmm.
the incredibly difficult struggle they are having, not
Mm-hmm.
just with their academic work, but with their social lives on
Mm-hmm.
campus,
Mm-hmm.
and how, again, it's not just smartphones, but smartphones and social media has so changed the landscape of how
Mm-hmm.
college kids
Yes.
are able to
Yes.
hold attention in class, and then the AI piece of they're just plugging it all into chat
Mm-hmm.
GPT, and there's not thought and and real work being done behind that. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to dig more into that with you, since
Yeah.
you're regularly seeing college kids. So
Absolutely. And just, yes, we focus a lot on K-12 education, but then seeing
yeah.
that those effects in higher ed and in a space
Yeah,
that
it doesn't go away after K-12.
mhm,
It's like this keeps going.
yeah. And like universities are very interesting spaces because while they're
Yeah.
often on the cutting edge of research and innovation, they also it's moves so slowly as
Mm,
well,
yeah.
especially on the pedagogical level, like meaning what
Right.
instructors, what professors are doing, um, often is not half as up to date as what. And this is, I'm generalizing here,
Sure.
and there are certainly many effective and innovative educators. That's the cool part about my writing job is that I get to
Yeah.
interview and learn from cool professors doing cool and not just cool, but like
Yeah.
effective and equitable,
Right.
inclusive teaching practices. Um, but all this, I'm, as I told you before we started recording, although it's been recording since we hopped on,
I
but
know.
before the part that
our
I'll
our
like
pre-show,
our
our pre-show.
pre-show hang. I thought wanted to talk about one topic tonight, and then I read something
Yeah.
and wanted to talk about something else, and I know we're getting low, like running out of time. Anyway, so I'm trying to think how best to get into this because it all blends together. Like
Blend
obviously
it.
this all
Do it.
relates. But the question that I asked to my students on the very first day of class is, what is the purpose of education? What would your answer to this question be, Jordan?
Oh
You
man.
can, I gave them time to write and then said pick one word or phrase that stands out. So you can even just give me a word or phrase.
The purpose of education. Um I I think for whatever reason, the word exposure to many topics, general, providing general information on many topics, hopefully to spark curiosity into diving deeper into topics, on their own in the future. Well-rounded citizens, I see school as a place of learning, but I also see it as a place of socialization and learning social skills, social norms, how to interact with others.
I love that. And it is a classic Jordan. Give me one word or
I know.
phrase.
I know. I'm wordy. I can't help it anymore.
Obviously,
I'm embracing it. I'm wordy.
It is not an easy question to answer.
It's
not
not
a question that could or should be answered in just
multifaceted.
Yes, multifaceted,
multi-purpose,
nuanced.
Yeah.
And, where I won't spend a lot of time, but one of the things I did in my class was pulled up this text from Martin Luther King Jr. called The Purpose of Education, which you can read more about on my, I believe, substack.com/resonances, I think is how you get to me. But I actually had a post today because I wanted to dive more into.
I did read it.
Yeah. Okay. So you already know that to MLK, writing this as a college student himself, the purpose of education was for both intellect and character, that it's not just enough to be able to think well, but you also need to have well intentions, or like you need to do, have morality to act upon that knowledge and that intelligence, which is, I think, a really interesting and important approach to the broader philosophy of why do we have schools, why do we educate, but then to think more historically too, like initially education in the US was to create literate American citizens. If we're going to be a democracy, if we're going to let our people have a say in what we do in this country, we need to have well-educated people to have their say. They need to be able to read and write and say. So, that's the initial purpose of education. And obviously, this was initially reserved for a select few. Although we were a democracy, we know that, the right to education and the right to power and privilege was largely white, male, Protestant citizens.
Right.
And then gradually, through time, this expands to include others as well, as the purpose of purpose of education continues to expand too. It always includes this idea of a literate American citizenry, but then it became more targeted towards college preparation, that we're moving beyond a K-12. Well, it wasn't K-12 then, but for college, which then leads to the workforce. So we get this idea of job training in there. But then as schooling began to include more people, and as the country began to include more people with an influx of European immigrants, school became not just a place for like technical job training, but also language training and culture training. So this is the place where you learn how to be an American.
Yeah.
And then, that's certainly a huge question as well of what does it mean to be an American? But at the end of the day, like school in the United States has always been a place for multiple perspectives to come together towards some sort of shared outcome.
Right.
Some sort of shared experience, which is, of course, the beauty, I think, of the public school model as a place for kind of the first thing you mentioned, like multiple people to come together, multiple diverse perspectives and experiences to learn how to sort through information and how to make sense of themselves and make sense of the world. Enter technology, right? That's
yeah.
Because enter technology, and yes, want to read The Digital Delusion. And this week, the Brookings Report on AI and education came out, and I'm realizing I thought I was all prepped about this, and I didn't pull my notes out. But here's what so this was my all I've been doing anytime I have for the past 3 days is reading this report.
Wow.
So it's called A New Direction for Students in an AI World: Prosper, Prepare, Protect.
Oh boy.
But essentially, it's from the Brookings Institute, the Center for Universal Education, which is really a nonpartisan think tank. I'm sure
Okay.
you've probably heard, like, on an NPR report, this research
Do
from the Brookings Institute. That's
do
my
they
NPR
do they
voice.
take any funding from big tech? Are you aware?
Um, I don't
I've
know enough
become more
about,
aware of those
yeah,
things too,
sure,
like who
sure,
funds
sure.
what, and I didn't pay
Um,
attention to that before.
yeah, no, I will look into that because
I would
that,
just be curious if it's
mhm.
yeah, if it's a not funded by, Gates, Zuckerberg, and
Yeah, yeah, that's a
any of
great
those things.
question. Because I don't know who
Yeah.
Brookings is or was, I
I
would
I
assume.
don't know.
Um,
Mr. Brookings or Mrs. Brookings, we don't know.
yeah, for sure.
Mr. or Mrs. Brookings.
But essentially, they do, these big research reports,
Yeah.
compiling all the data information. And this report specifically on, the role of AI in education, they characterized it as a pre-mortem. So, like, a post-mortem is where, like, after something has died or failed or something, you look back on, like, what went
Yeah.
wrong. A pre-mortem is
We know it's gonna
anticipating
go wrong.
what could go wrong and how can we
Yeah.
mitigate it. Like,
Okay.
how can we
Okay.
anticipate the, this demise, what AI could, how it could degrade our society.
Man.
And now
Yeah.
let's look through it. So
Okay.
they're the big summary, right, is that the risks of AI overshadow the benefits
Yep.
because it affects children's fundamental development, right? And that's, a balanced report to the extent that, like, they do give time and space to the benefits, which is important too, because there certainly are benefits of AI technology. And I can list these here, as far as access, saving time, improving student learning outcomes, personalization, accessibility, and assessment. And I think the one that's most important, appealing to me would be that idea of what idea? Accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
Because even in this report, I learned about things that I, you know, was like, for example, students with dyslexia and using AI technologies
Sure.
to help readability. Just
I guess I would question how is AI different than the other tools that have existed to support
mm-hmm,
students with dyslexia?
mm-hmm,
And, I have had multiple students now that I've been working with one
mm-hmm.
on one. And I think about that too. Like what benefit does AI bring, or what benefit does AI tools do they bring that are different or
I think
better?
it's the personalization and the individualization
Hmm.
that it can adapt to specifically what that student needs, not just what that learning disability, for example, often
Okay.
requires, right? But instead it is providing, it is able to provide
Yeah, I'd like to
more
know more
individualized accommodations. Yeah, well, you
because
should read this
I'm
report because
really
it,
skeptical
again, I'm
of
just on
all
a
of it.
first read
Yeah.
of getting through. But and also what resonates for me too is that it can also improve equity as a more accessible technology, that places that don't have high quality schools or don't have the means to um, individualized instruction
Hmm.
can be, you know, fostered through AI.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, it's like the benefits are there and the benefits are real and the benefits are promising in many ways. And there's the
I
reality
know I'm
that
still really
I
skeptical.
know you're not.
I'm
Or I know
I'm
you
not
are
sold.
skeptical. But the reality is that this is not going anywhere anytime
Yeah,
soon.
it's
Like, it
not.
is part of our reality.
Yeah.
Because then there are, though, those risks.
Right.
Here's what I know you
And
want to
it's
hear
not a
about.
foregone conclusion that
It's
we
not a foregone conclusion. It's
must
not. And
use
that's
it. Yeah.
why I think why this report is so powerful and hopefully will
Yeah.
help to continue conversations and make some changes through
Yeah.
this all evidence backed. Like, it's, I guess what really stood out to me too is that everything I read here is basically everything you and I have talked about,
Hmm.
especially with these risks of just being
Yeah.
like, okay, it's not just us, it's not just anecdotal,
Right.
but
Right.
here is the evidence of
Yeah, we got to have the
risks.
data. You have to have the data.
And here is what the data says.
AI
Where
is
did
the worst. Oh, wow.
Okay, so here are the most commonly cited risks. And then I'm going to ask you which are the most important or concerning to you.
Oh boy.
And see how.
Pop quiz. Got it.
Not pop quiz.
No,
No,
I'm just
but
kidding.
here they are. Undermining students' cognitive development. So this idea that like by outsourcing the thinking, right, students will lose cognitive abilities. That's number one. Number two, impeding students' social and emotional development.
Yeah.
Again, many of the things we've talked about with, for example, character AI as creating this emotional connection with something that is
therapeutic
non-human.
chatbots that teach you how to. Anyways, yep.
Another one we've talked about, number three, is degrading trust in education.
Totally.
We've talked about a ton, right? And that from like every direction, whether it's students distrusting their teachers, teachers having to be increasingly skeptical of their students, parents being skeptical about what's happening in schools, schools being skeptical about what's happening at home. Because here's another issue with AI: it's not limited to schools, right? It is something that students also have access to beyond school walls, but often in ways that they cannot separate this way I'm engaging with this thing at home versus what I'm being asked to do at school.
Exactly.
Number four was threatening student safety. Again, many of the ways that data is being taken, a whole bunch of
or is examples there. Yep.
Fostering dependence that erodes autonomy and agency. So students no longer trusting their own intellect and ability.
Original thought. Yes, because they. Yep. Oh man, spot on.
And then finally, deepening inequities. So while at the same time, AI technology can change some things, can provide more equitable opportunities, it also severely deepens the quote unquote digital divide, and also underscores who does and doesn't have access to these things.
I think the part that stuck out to me was something I heard recently about AI and kind of the difference between adults choosing to use it and children being forced to use it through quote unquote tools in school. Is AI can be useful for offloading tasks when you're already an expert at that task. What student K-12 is already an expert at a certain task? It's very few. It's the process to getting there. So you're not deepening your learning by using an AI tool to offload a task. You haven't learned how to be an expert that can decipher between if this is like, hey, is this factual information that the AI chatbot robot just gave me? Because I already have this background knowledge, this base knowledge. They don't have the base knowledge yet to be able to use a tool to offload some skills that they already have. And so that's what, when I heard it put that way, it's like, that makes total sense.
100%.
You can teach about AI. It's, and like you said, it's not going anywhere, but we don't have to teach about AI through AI. We don't have to use it. I keep going back to the thing about my students using Magic School, and the warning literal warning page when you open Magic School is basically don't trust everything that's on this page because it may or may not be factual. Well, then why are we using that for students? If you're gonna spit out something that's not true and then they have to go look it up anyways, can we just look it up the first time and not use a robot that's saying horrible things?
No, and the same point you made about like adult use versus adolescence.
Yeah, adults
is that
go
like,
crazy.
And there are, because that's where some of these benefits, like we're thinking about things like cancer research. Like, yes, it is highly important that or helpful for cancer research to be expedited by offloading tasks that would have otherwise been done by a human. Or another example I read was like examining or like looking at water quality and being able to like prevent an epidemic from occurring by finding toxins in the water, right? Great,
going
excellent.
Through
but again,
large
these
data
are
sets.
highly specified. Yes, this is choices being made by educated
But then is
fully
also a person is checking
a
to
person is checking
ensure like these
exactly.
results look like they should
Yes. And this is
look.
very different from developing brains,
Yeah.
children and adolescents,
Typing into a
typing
box,
into a
write my
box that,
resume for me, and then
yeah.
it wrote my resume with still the little I'm pulling from a direct example of a
That
student who
sounds
wrote a resume that it was supposed to say like X number, had the little parentheses X, like X number of years doing this. Well, they left the X because they just copied and pasted directly from the
Whoops.
Magic School chatbot. I was like, why do you have an X all over this? And they didn't know. They didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, it's a
Duh.
problem. It's
They
really a
don't know what it meant
problem.
because they didn't have to do the work themselves.
Yeah. And so that's where, I am going to be spending a lot more time with this report.
Yeah,
Because there
that
is just
sounds
so much
really
here.
interesting.
And I'm thinking about, okay, so like, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
And the thing that they suggest doing, or like the call to action, it has 12 recommendations
Okay.
meant for, variety of stakeholders, from students to teachers, parents, admin, uh, policymakers, like across all the levels. Their call to action is for everyone to make to implement one of these recommendations within the next 3 years. So like if you think of every school making one change, like that would have huge effects, right?
Sure.
And so then on an individual level, I'm like, okay, so what do I do in the position that I'm in, the place that I'm in? I didn't even share with you, one of my bullet points I had was like my perpetual professional identity crisis. Um, but that's just me all the time. But in the roles that I have and the place I'm in, like what do I want to be doing? Um, I think working on this idea of promoting AI literacy to continue teaching about what AI actually is, how it actually works, and how to be critical around it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's certainly something I'm working on, conversations I'm having in my classes and in that working group I'm in, alongside thinking about the ethics, ethical use
Right.
to, you know, live with this thing in our lives, but also have human agency.
Sure.
And again, these are big tasks,
Big.
but specifically, I think I'm finally ready to say, like, here's what I'm doing. I am creating a professional development, hopefully video series. I've never edited video
I
before,
haven't
and
either.
I keep pretending like I can teach myself in the
You
next month
can.
or so.
You can.
I know what I want these videos to look like. It's not too complex. I just need to figure out how to work all the buttons.
Wow.
Hosted on my Substack,
Okay.
intended for educators or really anyone who works in, around, or cares about education, to reconnect with your core identities and consider them in this world of AI, or in relation to AI and
Huh.
education, to think about, why you initially came to this profession, why your discipline specifically, and then thinking about your role and your discipline in relation to AI, and in relation to the students you teach or the people you work with, the people you work for. And my goal is to, like, I envision these episodes having first some framing context, doing some of just that education on what AI is, alongside those reflections on what education is, what's your role in this, and then again, more of that kind of personal identity work for who
Yeah.
you are in this world, and who you want to be, or what you want your relationship to AI to look like, or what you want its role to play in your classroom or in your school.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it'll be, some framing context followed by reflective questions, leading ideally to writing or whatever your reflection looks like. But I intend for it to be something that is for people who want to engage in this work,
Yeah.
not as like a forced PD session of
Sure.
sit down, listen to this thing, and walk away. But this is like, no, if you want to watch these videos as they come out, excellent. If you stumble upon them later, or if I find somewhere a different avenue for them, It's just something I have wanted to be dabbling in for a while anyway. So much inspired by you and your mini initiatives. I'm like, yeah, I just need to do the thing. I need to do the thing. And it's happening with this working group that I'm in. It's going to be the thing that I present to them in a month or so.
Oh, wow.
I hope to have like at least 1 or 2 episodes ready to share kind of as drafts and get some feedback and all that, which, yeah.
Fantastic.
So that is one of the things I'm working on, and I'm excited about it.
I'm excited too. It's all. It really does.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people want to have meaningful conversation about it.
And that's what we're doing. And that's what I was going to say at the top of the podcast is that I love that we have this space to document this, because I feel like just thinking about all the things that you have done in the last like 6 months, it is awesome that we have this space just to record what you've done, but also to hear you're reflecting through the process. I think it's something that, if nothing else, you and I are going to listen back on these episodes 10 years from now and be like, wow, you were doing it. And hopefully we're still doing it then.
Oh my gosh,
and can look back
years.
on. I know, right?
Yeah. Camden will be driving.
What?
Because he turned, or almost, because he turned 6 on February 1st.
No.
10 years.
Oh my God.
Turning 16.
That's incredible.
I don't like it. Take it back. Nope.
Well, and here's my millennial mom thought, that my sense of time, like thinking about the fact that I have an almost 1-year-old, like we're coming up on her first birthday, but my sense of time has just expanded drastically. Like I can think about like 10-year goals or like things I want to do in 10 years. And it's like, oh, I could. Like that's so much time. And also it's not that far away.
No. I'm not ready to think about it. Okay, everyone. As long as it's not dangerously cold for you to go outside for many minutes, get outside. Touch the grass. It's probably frozen. It's fine. It's okay. You can still touch it. Get some fresh air. Spend some time off your screen. Mentally prepare for doing off February. You don't have to not use social media. You just have to delete it off your phone. Don't even delete your accounts. It's totally fine. Is that it? Go touch grass. Get out.
I think that's it. Touch the grass.
Get off your screens as much as you can.
And enjoy this podcast music by Mr. Brian Spickelmeyer. Are you going to do social media posts for this podcast during off February?
I will.
You'll have to do it from a computer. You don't have to. Instagram. You definitely don't have to, but
no, but I want to, because it's consistency.
Yeah.
And what I might do is just add the off February tile within,
absolutely. Yeah, there you go.
Post.
There you go.
It's not the main one, but just as a reminder. Actually, it just came to me.
So don't worry, world. Jordan Spickelmeyer does social media and will continue through the month of off February. I'm Helen Plevka-Jones, and I have a lot of audio editing on my hands for this week. So hopefully by the time you're hearing it, you didn't even notice. And everything was smooth, everything was great, and everything's good. So
she's paid really well to do that.
Yes, you pay for what you get. You get what you pay for.
Don't edit that out.
And we will catch you on the flippity flip.